All right, today's video is about a fairly prolific scam operation that impersonates a well-known restaurant reservation and review platform called OpenTable, but it's also a bit of a PSA about the entire genre of scams that get used, which are called task scams. And sadly, this particular genre seems to be growing quite rapidly. First off, even though the title very obviously makes this clear, what I'm talking about today is a scam that impersonates OpenTable. They are not affiliated with OpenTable directly, despite all sorts of attempts to make it seem like they are. So please don't go thinking that the entire platform is somehow involved in this. It's not. Second, the premise of the entire scam is basically built on the idea of committing order/review fraud, which cleverly helps disguise the fact that OpenTable probably wouldn't want that to be widely known by their customer base, making it a bit of a hush-hush wink-wink type situation where the victim thinks, okay, I'm skirting the system and doing this kind of not okay thing for OpenTable that maybe helps them under the table, so that's why the returns are so good and the methods are so sketchy. Spoiler alert, it's a scam, and today I want to discuss what it is, how it happens, and equip people with more information on what to look for so they can better protect themselves, I guess, against it. Maybe it's kids or parents or grandparents, but the ability for a scheme like this to exist at all in the first place relies exclusively on a public lack of information. Let's dive in. OpenTable is a well-known restaurant reservation platform that also facilitates reviews online. I've used it before myself, a lot of you watching this probably have as well, but the only reason it's relevant for today is because that's the company the scam ring have chosen to impersonate. It actually offers very good cover for them because restaurant culture relies heavily on the optics of customer reviews, making it a lot more plausible that some of them would be hiring an outside firm to bolster fake numbers. That obviously does happen at times, but that's a topic for a different day. OpenTable is the cover, but Indeed, or LinkedIn as well, job recruiting platforms, are the hunting ground. A scam like this relies on desperate people who likely have some sort of employment needs that aren't currently being met. It's despicable, actually, to prey on people who are simply looking for employment prospects at what might be a difficult time in their life, but it raises the likelihood that these people will overlook red flags and fall into this trap, if you will, where they would be willing to engage in some sort of under-the-table type arrangement, offering quick returns. Once the recruiters have identified a potential victim, they start the initial approach, and this is where I'll be drawing from the experience of one victim in particular who reached out to me directly describing his own experience after dealing with this scam. I'm mostly going to censor the conversation here, and I'll only quote the essentials, because one thing that tends to happen is that things get very personal. When someone is being manipulated into losing hundreds or thousands of dollars, often at a critical juncture in their life, things take a turn from rational to emotional, which is then preyed upon by whoever's running the scam. With a target-rich hunting ground, the scammers begin reaching out, mostly utilizing WhatsApp or Telegram. Some people may not like what I'm about to say here, but if you're a professional looking for a job and you don't already have existing experience using WhatsApp or Telegram because of the particular industry you're in or the region of the world where you live, in some areas it's much more common than in others, you should regard anyone asking you to use those platforms as a probable scammer. Those are not the primary communication methods of an actual, legitimate, reputable business professional. Yes, you will sometimes use them. Yes, some people out there are reputable and do use them as well. But if someone is trying to steer you into a WhatsApp conversation right away, instead of a legitimate phone call, or better yet, even an email address, you should be very, very skeptical. Anyway, once the scammer has identified a potential victim, they open up communication and start sending things like this. Quote, "Hi, this is Anna. It was Alice who told me you wanted to know more details about part-time or full-time jobs in restaurants, so I'm leaving you a message. I hope I'm not bothering you. Thanks. Looking forward to hearing back from you." End quote. Fairly innocent to start with. After that, they describe the service you'll be performing, and this is where you'll start seeing red flags. Quote, "Let me introduce my work. OpenTable is an online restaurant reservation service company founded by Sid Gorham, Eric Moe, and Chuck Templeton on July 2nd, 1998, and is headquartered in San Francisco, California. Our job is to provide a traffic workstation for comprehensive professional services such as restaurant evaluation, promotion, star rating, ranking, etc. The opening hours of the company's workstation are from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day, and the work of the day can be completed in less than 1 hour during this period." End quote. See, it starts to sound weird, right? Hey, I work for OpenTable. Here's all these facts about OpenTable that you don't care about and didn't ask about. And the work is super easy, takes 1 hour a day. But that's all before they start discussing salary. Quote again, "Complete at least 2 sets of tasks every day, and you can get $80 by signing in for 2 consecutive days. Sign in for 5 consecutive days to get 900, sign in for 15 consecutive days to get 1800, sign in for 30 days to get 3200. So 1 month's salary is $59.80, which is a fixed salary. Our daily work will complete 2 to 3 groups of tasks every day. Each group's task package is composed of 30 tasks. We need to complete at least 2 groups of tasks in 1 day to officially sign in for 1 working day, and so on. This is the basic salary, not counting the basic profit from completing tasks every day, and the commission is the more tasks you complete, the more you earn, and you can get it when you complete the workbench order every day. End quote. This is the point where ideally everyone would just block whoever it is messaging them all this because the scam has revealed itself. This is what's called a task scam, where the user will be doing some trivial thing, such as pressing like on certain videos or submitting orders for these restaurants and subsequently getting paid for it through some sort of major partnership. In this case, the tasks are to submit orders to specific restaurants, and then someone else will presumably fill out reviews for those orders, bolstering the credibility of that restaurant and making it seem more popular maybe than it actually is. In reality, none of this is actually happening because the entire process takes place in its own isolated fictional ecosystem, designed specifically to scam unsuspecting victims. But for someone who isn't aware, it seems like all they have to do is put some money into the platform, use that money to submit these tasks a couple of times per day, and harvest a commission afterwards. That's where things devolve rather quickly because any money you put in will never come out again, with the exception of maybe very small amounts of money early on to try and build trust with you. This right here is the application in question. I was given access by my source. This is the 3rd iteration of the scam that I was able to find, and this one is still currently online, which lets me track how effective it's been over the past few days. But the impressive aspect of it all is that they've designed a browser page that perfectly mimics a smartphone application format, allowing them to appear somewhat more credible. Interesting side note, the website actually gets blocked by something called Guardio. Guardio is a threat prevention tool for Chrome browsers in particular, and I have a special partnership with them through the channel, so if anyone's interested, there's a link down below. They have a very good track record from my research of blocking malicious websites, and you get up to 5 devices on a single subscription, so yeah, if you or anyone you know is hyper susceptible to things like this or problems like this, I'm very confident recommending Guardio as a first line of defense for Chrome users. Anyway, this is the app in question, which my source was kind enough to provide me details on, and this is where we can see how far the scammers will go to appear credible. They have this whole faked legal notice posted, as if they're working for OpenTable. They have all sorts of partner logos, and they also have a list of tasks where you can submit money to open some sort of order at these restaurants, presumably, and then harvest a commission afterward. Strange thing on that front, none of these restaurants are actually OpenTable partners, and what's worse, the tasks are built in such a way where you will almost immediately start doubling up and requiring additional deposits in order to keep going. That's where the scam comes into play. You start with a relatively small amount of money, and they might even let you take some of it back out as profit, but after a day or two, you'll start to see increasingly creative requirements submitted that make it so your balance always goes negative. And the only way to unlock the rest of your money, right, big air quotes around that unlock, as well as higher commissions in the process, is to deposit the difference. It's actually a twisted sort of genius in a way, because they effectively hold your own money as a hostage until you give them even more of your own money, while disguising the whole thing as some sort of on-the-cusp opportunity, which will pay out greater than the risk you've decided to take. You start with a $40 task, which is what this victim started with, and then you do a few here and there till your balance shows $60 or $100 in total. After that, they suddenly spring it on you that there are now 2 tasks that you have to be doing simultaneously, each costing $80, which throws your account net negative because the total is $160, where you only had $60 or $100. But once unlocked, it would have 5 times higher commission, so you should deposit the difference. See the problem? Now you have to put in $60 more on top of the initial $40 you put in to unlock a total of $160, and hopefully you should be able to withdraw after that, but the cycle never ever stops, and only ever escalates in terms of raw value, to a point where your account with them drops negative in the thousands of dollars as they try to get everything they possibly can from you. It's pretty simple, to be honest, but it's highly effective because once a victim is wrapped up in it, they are contained by a whole host of psychological factors, making it harder and harder to walk away from it, which leaves them sometimes willing to go far beyond their normal risk profile in order to just have a shot at recovering what they lost so far. Now, thanks to this particular victim stepping forward, I can track the wallets associated with this scam, at least the wallets that they used for a specific period of time, and showcase how widespread it actually is. I was able to find what appear to be 4 separate wallets associated, where victims are told to either deposit funds directly, Ethereum is their preferred network, or that serve as some sort of general aggregate wallet for a much larger web of deposit addresses. Characteristics of this scam, by the way, include a constantly changing set of details about where to send money or where to communicate. Every time you want to get a payout, you have to message someone on Telegram or WhatsApp, and they often have brand new numbers to communicate with. Every time you want to deposit the necessary balance to unfreeze your account, you have to get a new wallet address from customer service in order to do so, because they are changing things all the time to avoid law enforcement. These 4 wallets are the ones that I found directly connected, and I'll just read them off in order. The first one was only active from April 22nd to April 29th and processed roughly $45,000 worth of Ethereum from its victims in the span of just that 1 week. The second is still active. It spun up on April 25th and has processed roughly $20,000 so far. The third wallet was only active for 5 days, starting on the 25th, ending on the 30th as well, and managed to get over $80,000. And the fourth, the longest running one that I've seen for this iteration of the scam thus far, started on April 21st. It's still going, and once again has processed over $80,000 worth of Ethereum. This one network of scammers using this one particular technique, that is impersonating OpenTable this time, is approaching $250,000 of stolen capital in a little over 7 days, because it works. And the only reason it works is lack of public awareness. If someone approaches you on a job recruitment platform like LinkedIn or Indeed, subsequently trying to use WhatsApp for communication and telling you about any opportunity where you can make significant sums of money on commission for completing objectives or tasks, it is not real. It doesn't matter how many logos they have on their platform, or how many legal letters they post, or how many explanations they give for why you have to use crypto to do it without a 1099 or a W-2 for employment. Because no matter what they say or how good it sounds, you will be pulled into a psychological funnel where the only result is losing money, and they will weaponize any piece of personal information they can to make that happen. In this particular case, a group has been sequentially improving their impersonation scam of OpenTable, where they offer commissions for order tasks through their application, but none of it is real, all of it is fabricated, and the result is that people who were already at a desperate point in their lives to begin with are set back even further after falling victim to something that honestly should not exist. I will be taking some off-platform action on my own here to try and do something about this particular example of the scam, which I won't go into detail about right now. But this video itself is mostly a shot at raising awareness, because the more people who understand the basic process, the more advocates there are who won't fall for it, and the more difficult it becomes to steal $250,000 per week from desperate people. That's it. Big thank you to the victim who approached me for stepping forward. I'm very sorry you went through all that, and hopefully now you'll be equipped to never fall for something like that ever again, because personal experience, despite being the harshest and most unforgiving method of learning, is by far the most effective teacher. Good luck to you, man. If you want to support the channel, or if you want to protect yourself and anyone else in your immediate network from falling prey to things like this in the future, there is a link down below to the Guardio extension in the description. It's a noticeably helpful thing to have for Chrome users that I highly recommend. Also a VPN deal, locals and Patreon, monthly memberships, etc., etc. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching. Could not be more relevant than it is today. Question everything, and have a nice night.